Welcome back to another deep dive, everyone. Today we'll be looking at something a little different. It's the incredible book Eating Boy, a children's book by Oliver Jeffers.
Yeah, it's a pretty interesting one.
Yeah, it is. And, we've got this amazing research document plan that one of our listeners sent in for the show today. It's going to help us navigate Henry's rather unusual approach to reading.
It's definitely not your typical bookworm story, that's for sure.
Not at all. So today we're going to kind of explore this surprising journey that he takes and all the curious things that kind of happen when you try to just eat your way to knowledge, and maybe even uncover what this kind of whimsical story has to say about how we all learn, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think on the surface it looks like a very straightforward story.
Yeah.
Just a boy who eats books. But there's some pretty insightful layers there that we'll definitely unpack today.
Oh, yeah, for sure. For sure. So let's start right at the beginning of Henry's story. We quickly learn that, he's not a fan of traditional reading.
Right.
There are just, he thinks there are way too many words. I mean, we've all probably felt that way about certain, lengthy books at times. Right?
Yeah, definitely.
But Henry, he takes this feeling to a whole new level. Instead of just skipping paragraphs or anything like that, he decides he takes a bite.
A bite of a book.
Out of a book, yeah. He accidentally nibbles on a book and has this sudden epiphany. He knows what it said. Just like that.
Wow. So he's like absorbing the knowledge instantly.
Instantly. And what's so fascinating is his motivation right from the get-go. It's not about a love for stories or, a thirst for knowledge in the traditional sense, really. No. It seems to stem from this desire to become the smartest boy on earth, like the fastest route,
Oh, I see. It's more about the achievement, I guess,
yeah.
The status.
Yeah, like, is there a shortcut to knowledge? That's kind of the question that it makes me wonder about. And initially, he's not picky about the books he chooses. He eats storybooks, dictionaries, those number-heavy books,
Right.
It's funny to think about it, like picturing him just munching his way through the library.
It's quite an image.
But then there's this one quirky little detail. He loves red books the best. Why red? Makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Yeah. Is it just a preference, like a favorite color?
Mm-hmm.
Or is there something, symbolic about it?
Exactly. Yeah. Is there something about the information in those red books that's, extra appealing to him? Like in children's literature, colors often have symbolic meanings.
Oh, right.
So red, it's often associated with energy, excitement, maybe importance even. So maybe subconsciously he's equating red books with more stimulating or crucial information.
That's an interesting thought. I mean, it's speculation, of course, but it does add another layer to the story, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. So Henry's on this book eating spree, and he's feeling smarter with every page he swallows. Yep. But just like any diet, if you take it to an extreme, things start to go wrong. He starts to feel sick. And this is where it gets really interesting, I think, for us. All this information, it starts to get mixed up.
Right. It's like he's overloading.
Exactly. He's overloading. And it kind of highlights, I think, a key point about how we all process information. It's not enough to just, consume it rapidly. You have to actually digest it, right?
Yeah, it's like trying to learn a language by just, listening to a bunch of random words without understanding the grammar or the context.
Exactly. And our research plan actually points out some instances where he's saying these nonsensical things.
Oh, really?
He starts jumbling numbers and animals. Like, imagine trying to solve a math problem and you get a furry creature as the answer.
That's hilarious.
Right. It's a really funny image, but it also really tells us something, right? He's got all this raw data, but he can't make sense of it.
He hasn't really learned it. He's just kind of swallowed it whole, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. And beyond his own internal confusion, his habit is causing external problems, too.
Oh, right.
Like, hello, those fines he's racking up at the library.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Eating library books? That's a pretty bold move, I'd say.
Oh.
Even for someone who, has such a strong appetite for reading material.
It shows how unsustainable his method is. There are always consequences when we try to bypass the established ways of doing things.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And the library fines, they're a very tangible reminder of that.
Yeah, they are. So what happens next?
Well, so Henry's got this tummy ache, a growing pile of overdue notices, and he has this moment of clarity.
Okay.
He decides he's got to give up the book eating.
Makes sense.
He stops, cold turkey. And for a while, he feels kind of lost. Like, how is he going to continue learning now? It's almost as if he's forgotten that there's another way.
That there's this other, perhaps more more effective way. Yeah.
Yeah. So he kind of in this period of, disorientation, and it sets the stage for, I think, a really crucial rediscovery.
What's that?
He picks up one of the books that he'd only, taken a bite out of before, and he actually reads it, and surprise, surprise, he enjoys it.
He actually enjoys reading.
He enjoys reading. And what he finds is that, reading, it unlocks this whole other level of comprehension, even pleasure.
That's a big moment.
It is. It contrasts the superficial kind of intake of information through, eating with this deeper, more meaningful engagement that comes with actual reading.
Right. It's not just about accumulating facts. It's about understanding them, connecting them, making them a part of how you see the world.
Exactly. So let's shift gears a little bit and talk about some of the bigger, I guess, themes and ideas that the story presents, right?
Right.
I mean, clearly it's a celebration of books themselves.
Yeah.
Even though Henry initially treats them as food, the story ultimately highlights their power and importance in enriching our lives and expanding how we understand things.
Absolutely. They open up new worlds. They give us new perspectives.
Yeah.
It goes way beyond the physical object. Right?
Way beyond. And there's also a very strong message about moderation. Like Henry's overenthusiasm leads to all those negative consequences.
Oh, yeah. It's a good reminder that balance is key. Even with learning,
Yeah.
You can have too much of a good thing sometimes.
Exactly. And it really makes you think about like those promises of quick fixes and, hacks that we see all the time. Maybe the slower, more traditional methods are actually more rewarding in the end.
Yeah. True learning takes time and effort. There's something about the process itself, working through challenges, making connections, that just can't be replicated with a quick fix.
Right. And lastly, we see the shift in Henry's motivation. At first, it's all about being the smartest. Like, he wants the external validation. But later on, he misses the knowledge he'd gained, even if it was all jumbled up.
Yeah.
It suggests maybe a deeper appreciation for knowledge itself, like the joy of just knowing things.
That's a nice way to put it. The joy of knowing things.
Yeah. So, let's talk about the author himself for a minute, Oliver Jeffers.
Okay.
He's an interesting guy, born in Australia in 1977, spent his childhood in Northern Ireland, and then later moved to Brooklyn, New York.
Oh, wow. So he's quite the world traveler.
He is, and he graduated from the University of Ulster in 2001.
Very cool.
And what I think is so distinctive about his work, and you can see it so clearly in the incredible book Eating Boy, is his artistic style.
Yeah.
He uses a lot of collage, mixed media, giving his illustrations this wonderful texture and a really unique visual feel.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. It's very, very tactile almost.
It is. And he's known for using actual pages from old discarded books as backgrounds for his illustrations.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's this very clever and relevant detail considering, the theme of the book.
Right. It's like these fragments of past stories, past knowledge are forming the backdrop for Henry's own story.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So beyond his work in children's books, Jeffers is also a pretty well-known artist.
Oh, really?
Yeah. He's got exhibitions in galleries, does freelance illustration. He's a real talent.
That's impressive.
And of course, he's gotten, lots of recognition for his work in children's literature. He's won the Nestle Smarties Book Prize, the Blue Peter Book Award, and his books have been translated into over 30 languages.
Wow. That's amazing. Henry's book-eating adventures are reaching kids all over the world.
They are, and I think that speaks to the universality of the themes that he explores. Even though it's this fantastical premise, the desire to learn, the dangers of excess, the joy of discovery, they're things we all experience.
Yeah, I think that's why it resonates with people.
So if Henry's story has piqued your interest, we have a few recommendations for you.
Oh, great.
Starting with some other books by Oliver Jeffers himself, Lost and Found, How to Catch a Star, Stuck, and This Moose Belongs to Me. They all have that same kind of humor and heart that makes his work so special.
Okay, I'll check those out.
And if you really like his artistic style, you might also enjoy The Day the Crayons Quit, and the sequel, The Day the Crayons Came Home.
Oh, I've heard of those. They're really popular.
They are. And we also wanted to suggest a couple of books by other authors that have that same kind of whimsical, imaginative feel.
Okay, yeah, I'm always looking for new books to read to my kids.
Okay. Well, how about Dragons Love Tacos by Adam Rubin?
Oh, that sounds fun.
It is. And then, of course, the classic Where the Wild Things Are by Maurice Sendak. It celebrates imagination and adventure.
That's a great one.
It is, and all of these books, they capture that inventive spirit that makes The Incredible Book Eating Boy so memorable.
Yeah, it's great to see how different authors tap into those universal themes in such unique ways.
It is. So as we come to the end of our deep dive into The Incredible Book Eaten Boy, it's clear that this seemingly simple story is much more than, just a boy with a strange diet.
Yeah.
It's a really fun and thought-provoking exploration of learning and balance and the true value of reading.
And I think the book's lasting appeal comes from that quirky central idea and, of course, Jeffers' incredible illustrations. They really stay with you.
They do, and it makes you think about, how you learn even after you've finished reading.
Right.
What are our own ways of consuming information, right?
That's a good question.
What's the best way to really understand something? Maybe when we're eager to learn something new, there's a little bit of a book eater in all of us.
Maybe there is.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks for having me.